Hey everyone and welcome. My name is Christy and I'm the head trainer and nutritionist at 68 Fitness, and today I want to help transition you back into the gym after you've had a break, or maybe back into sport or back into any sort of training. Just go over some of the hurdles that you might find that you come across and how to address them and how to move quickly through those hurdles and get back into training so you can get straight back to where you were before. Now, this information is going to be suitable to you if you've had a 6-month break or less. If you've had more than a 6-month break from any type of training, I've got another video. You can check it out. The link is just up here. Or stay tuned for this video. Maybe you might find some helpful information, and then head on down to the description later on and check out the other link for the other video for anyone who's had a break for longer than 6 months of training. Both are going to be quite similar but slightly different. You'll tackle them slightly differently. So different information in both. Maybe you might like to check out both and see what works for you. So guys, pull up a seat, get comfy, and let's get into it. Okay, so you might have taken a break from training because you might have had some illness, you might have had an injury that you needed to overcome, work got hectic and got really busy, or maybe you just got a little bit lazy and took some time off to, have a bludge. But we're going to take some baby steps to get you back into training, and the more of these tips that you take on board, the smoother your transition back into training will be, and you won't notice so many of the hurdles, and you'll get back into there much quicker than you think you will. If you have already been fit or you have already trained hard at some point, you will get back there much quicker than what you did to actually get there in the first place. So just relax. It's going to take some time. For some people it's going to be a couple of weeks, for other people it's going to be a couple of months. It will also depend that if you are going back to training 4 or 5 days a week compared to 1 day a week, you are going to notice some difference in time as well. Okay, so the first thing that I want to address is your nutrition, and if you don't take on board any other information that I give in this video, please make sure you take this on board, especially if you have been sitting down or have been very inactive for whatever reason for a few months or several months. Your appetite is going to be super suppressed. You're going to be eating way less calories than what you were when you're training. You could be eating probably half as many calories, if not less than that, and this is going to greatly affect your training. If you suddenly go to outputting a huge amount of energy and you're not eating anywhere near as much as you were when you were training, you are going to notice the capacity difference. You are not going to be able to do the things that you could do before. Now, as you start to train, your appetite is going to increase again, and you're going to start eating more calories. So it is okay to eat calories as long as those calories are going to good use. You don't want to eat a large calorie diet and be sitting down all day. But if you're having a high calorie diet, or you eat a good amount of food and then you are very active or train a lot or work hard, it's okay. Those calories are going to go somewhere, and that's totally fine. And be okay with that. Okay, so you need to make sure that you've not only had a good meal before your training, around 60 minutes. You might need to test it out again. People are different. I can eat right before training and it doesn't bother me. Other people need to eat an hour and a half, 2 hours before training. But whatever works for you, make sure you've had a meal, and that meal contains carbohydrates before you go back and do your training. So not only eat a good meal before training, but especially if you're training in the afternoon or evening, you need to make sure that you've had substantial amount of food throughout the beginning of the day to support that training that you're going to do in the afternoon. So if you had salads all day for lunch and you had a smoothie for breakfast and then nothing before training, you're going to struggle and you're going to burn out early. So make sure you had a good amount of food that's going to get you through your training session. So just remember what I said earlier, increasing your intake of food is okay only if it's going to good use. If you're going to start training again, going from no training, it's okay to eat those calories. So guys, if you don't have enough food to support the training that you would like to do, some of the things that you might feel are like lightheaded, you might feel dizzy, you might feel quite weak, and you might feel like you just can't output very much. So do make sure that you get onto the food. Try and do that a couple of days before. If you've been binge eating and eating piles of junk food, you might want to just get some nutrition into you, because even though you might have all the calories to support the training that you would like to do, you also need the nutrient value to actually give to your muscles and give to the rest of the body to make sure that it can help you push out what you need to do in your training session. Okay, the next thing you're going to notice is that you are going to run out of breath really, really quickly. Your oxygen transport capabilities, meaning the air coming in through your mouth, going down into your lungs, and then after the lungs, it needs to be transported around through your body. that system that does all that is gonna be a little bit less efficient than it was when you were training. And this is what most people deem as fitness. You know, when you've just started running, or you've just started, you're in the first 10 minutes of your workout, and then you know, they're the people going, man, I'm so not fit. So exercise is not always just about strength and how much you can lift and how much you can push. It is also, your fitness is really deemed as the capability or the capacity for you to transport oxygen and nutrients around your body, especially in high demands or high needs such as exercise. So you'll see just after a few weeks that you'll be able to transport oxygen much better around your body, and you'll notice it progress, and it will start to get better every training session that you get. It just means that your body will become more responsive, and when you start exercising, it'll start to get everything going, and you'll be able to move that oxygen around, and you won't run out of breath as quickly. The next thing that's going to happen is your endurance is going to be quite low. You might find that you can pick up the same pair of dumbbells or the same ball you could 3 or 4 months ago, but you'll probably find that you used to do 30 or 40 reps and now you're pretty tired after 10 reps. So it just means your endurance, or the length of time that you can continuously do something, is going to be significantly shorter. But again, just like your cardio and just like your fitness and everything, that will pick back up as you start getting into your training sessions. So just be careful and make sure you're not pushing yourself past what your body can physically do at the moment, because this is where injury is going to happen. If you make the muscle do more than what it's actually physically capable of doing right now, this is where you're going to get little tears and other injuries and pulls and things like that. So just be careful of that, but that's okay. Just have breaks when you need them. If your set is 50 reps to do, or 50 ball slams, for example, break it down into smaller groups, do 10 or 15 at a time, have a short rest, and then pick up and finish doing your reps. You're probably going to find that you're running things like your cardio machines, like air bikes, ski ergs, rowers, all that sort of stuff. Again, you're going to tire quickly. I wouldn't recommend, when you're coming back in your first couple of weeks, to really like flog yourself and go hard on these cardio machines, because you're going to gas out really quickly. So just build yourself into it, and just know that these things are going to happen, and just know that they're all short term and they're going to change, and things are going to go back to how they were quickly. But you need to transition, and you need to give yourself some challenges and push yourself a little bit, but don't push yourself further than what your body is actually ready to do just now. So of course your overall strength is going to be lost. You haven't necessarily lost muscle tissue, or if you have, it's not very much, and especially not in just a few months. It's all still there. It's just your muscle stores nutrients, and it stores carbohydrates, and it stores water is another big thing. So this is where the muscle shrinkage is happening. Your muscles are just, they don't need to store as much as they used to. Think of your muscles like a battery, or if you've got a kid's toy and it's only a very small toy, you only need a small battery to power a small toy. When you start getting to bigger things, like a car, for example, you need bigger, more powerful power options to move that object or that thing. So same with our muscles. If you're a person who sits 80-90% of the day, or you might do very gentle walks and things like that, you don't really need a big battery. You're not going to have a lot of capacity in your muscles to push a lot. So if you've had a long break and haven't done weights, haven't done running, haven't done what you normally do, think of like kind of downgrading your battery size. And when you go back to training and you start reinitiating everything, all those movements, and you turn your muscle from inactive to active muscle, it means it's kind of like going to start increasing your battery size. And larger batteries need a larger amount of calories. And this is why people who are very fit, very active, and lift a lot of weights or do a lot of physical activity tend to eat a lot more calories than someone who doesn't do much physical activity. Now, most likely, again, if you've been sitting for a little while, for whatever reasons, your core and your back muscles are probably going to be much weaker than they used to. And these midsection muscles are all the support. Remember, these muscles, front and back, are the ones that look after your spine and your posture. So another thing to keep in mind too, if you're someone who does regularly experience joint pain, you might find that you might have reduced some of that as you got a little bit fitter and your muscles got a little bit stronger. But now that you've kind of gone back a few steps, just be wary that your muscles might not be holding onto your kneecap or other joints as tightly as they used to be. So just keep that in mind and give yourself a little bit of time to build that strength back up in your muscle before you really push the joints into doing movements that they might not like to do. Okay, so some things you should be doing to help you get back into these exercises are, guys, do proper warm-ups. I know I hear it all the time. People come in, they run from the car and they say, I'm warm. That doesn't count. It actually takes a good 10 to 15 15 minutes, sometimes more if you're not that fit, to change from your parasympathetic to your sympathetic system. And the sympathetic system is the system you need to run on to do your exercise efficiently. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about those two systems, but just know that your body changes systems. It does like a flick over. It's like a little switch. It's progressive. It will change from a resting state into a more active state. Now, once you get into that sympathetic or that more active state, it means that your body can support you through exercise. It means your blood flow is higher, your lungs and your muscles and your heart and other things are primed and they're ready to give you the support. For example, you have extra blood in your working muscles. So that extra blood gives the muscles support, which means you can then push on to do these exercises that you want to do. So even though your body might be physically feeling warm and not feeling cold because you've been moving around, your muscles, your heart and your lungs and other things are not primed for high capacity exercise or for weightlifting and things where it needs a lot of power and effort to push. So do warm-ups that take at least 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. It can even be the first round of your workout that you're going to do just at a lesser capacity. Okay, second tip, go easy on the HIIT training. These are explosive, powerful movements that are short, sharp, and you do them really, really quickly. If you're returning after months of not doing any physical activity, your body is definitely not going to be primed to be pushing at complete power. Your body's not going to be ready to be pushing at 100%. Okay, so don't go flogging yourself on the ski erg straight to box jumps because it's not going to work out in your favor. Just give yourself a few weeks to prime and get everything ready to go again, and then get back into your HIIT training if that's what you like to do. Guys, your back and core is going to be weak if you haven't used those muscles for a while, especially if you've been sitting for work or for whatever reasons. If you've got a bit of a slouch going on and sitting at the desk, those core and back muscles get really, really weak. They are there to support your spine and give you posture strength. So just be very careful doing things like deadlifts and heavy squats and everything. I would really focus on working those foundational muscles back up again. So do some sit-ups, do some planks, do some whatever you like to do, and get some strength back in those muscles. Spend some time on your postural muscles, spend some time on your core and back, even if you need to take it back to some Pilates work or something like that. Leave the deadlifts for another couple of weeks, leave the heavy squats for another couple of weeks, get some strength back in your body, do some functional training, do some compound training. So that means using multiple muscles all together, and just get your body moving again, and leave the fancy powerful movements for another couple of weeks time. Some great exercises that you can start with is body weight squats. You can do push-ups, you can do sit-ups, do all the basic foundational moves. Go get yourself a box, do some walking step-ups. You can add some weight to it as well to try and build some strength and stability back into your muscles. Hit up the cardio, try and step it up a little bit from walking. That's a very comfortable pace. If you're coming back into the gym, get onto the rower, get onto the treadmill, get onto the ski erg, get onto your air bike or cycling bike or whatever you like to do. And you want to do something called moderate intensity continuous training. And it's exactly what it says. Moderate intensity, so it's not HIIT training, it's not high, sharp, powerful movements, and it's not comfortable movements like a nice casual walk. Moderate intensity, and it's continuous training. With HIIT training, it's high-end, powerful, short, sharp movements with rest periods in it. With this moderate intensity, continuous training, you want to do something like riding a bike at your own moderate intensity that is continuous. Do your 10 to 15 minute warm up and then get on a bike or get on something and do it for 20, 30 minutes continuously without a break. This will help get your cardio system and the heart and the lungs and everything and all those muscles and everything talking again and getting them all primed so you can give it a bit more of an output or a bit more power when you're doing your workout. Then guys, as you start to feel better and you got that fitness back into it, go for it. Get back into your HIIT training, get back into your short, sharp movements. But again, going from moderate intensity, continuous training, back into HIIT, you're going to notice a little bit of a lag period, so just give yourself some time to get back into that HIIT training. HIIT training is quite a lot of work on the body if it's done correctly. Guys, and I'm not talking about HIIT training as in like planks and sit-ups and wall sits. Guys, this is not HIIT training. So guys, now that I've given you a little bit of an understanding of how to transition back, you need to pick out what works for you, but just know that everyone is going to take their own time and their own pace to get back into the level of fitness that you were at. It also does depend on how fit you were to start with, how much break you've had, how many training sessions you did, what type of training sessions you did, and also your nutrition over the period that you've had some time off. So just consider all of these factors and just know that it is okay to come back and start simple, go through the basics again, and as you start to feel good, then start to get into your workouts and really give it a good go. But thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope this video was useful in helping you feel more confident and comfortable transitioning back into training after you've had some time off. Don't forget to subscribe so you can keep up with our new content that we're bringing, and also don't forget to head down to the description section to check out that other video if you are someone who has had longer than 6 months off from training, or maybe you're a beginner and you just want to start at the gym and you've never been at the gym before, or maybe you just want to get into some sport or some exercise. Whatever it is, go and check out that other video. But stay tuned, we've got new content always coming out. Check out these 2 videos over here. They're our most recent and most popular videos. Leave us a comment, send us a message, let us know what you think. And guys, as always, happy training, and I can't wait to see you all again soon. But for now, take care. We'll see you next time.